liabilities just before we prepare the balance sheet. So how much are our current liabilities? 35,925 minus our what? How much are our current liabilities? How much are our current liabilities? 13. 13. And that's going to be 5,925. Is that clear, guys? Is everything clear? Perfect, perfect. And do you want me to move to the right-hand side of the whiteboard? Those who are online, do you want me to erase everything here and calculate gross profit on the whiteboard? Tell me. How did you get 68,000? Diana, 68,000, how did we get? In the previous operation. Ну, я предыдущее писала же. Предыдущее на доске. I just wrote it on the whiteboard. When we wrote down the system of equations, we found out we expressed our sales through total assets, and we calculated total assets, and they were 68,000. And based on the balance sheet equation, we know that total assets are the same as equity plus liabilities. Is that clear? Now, does it ring a bell to you? Diane, does it ring a bell? Okay, good. If you need, then you can take a picture of my solution, those who are here in the classroom. All right, so, and we need now to do what, ladies and gentlemen?
Calculate
gross profit. Gross profit. Gross profit. Guys, do you want me to erase that or to move to the right hand side part of the whiteboard? Tell me. Лучше стереть. Хорошо. I will wipe that off. Just want to make sure that you wrote down everything. Is that clear? Is that clear? May I? May I? Можно уже? Tell me. Yes. Okay. Good. Alrighty, so, and that's, we have two final operations, and we will be preparing our balance sheet and income statement. Okay, good, good. So, let's do it. We know that gross profit margin is 29%. Which means, so gross profit margin, how is it calculated?
Да. Я вообще помню, у нас же gross profit это revenue минус косты, да?
Да, да, but the formula is?
Gross profit divided by total revenue.
Good. Gross profit divided by revenue. And we know that this is 0.29. We also know revenue. So our gross profit will be revenue. And revenue is, let me see. 95,200. We will multiply by 0.29. So our gross profit will be, I have 27,608. Lisa, okay. You will have a much shorter one. That's kind of, it combines everything. You will get, you won't have a system of equation on the exam. It's just the big, it's just a big one, a complex one that we are just covering. This is just, this is what I prepared. So gross profit, my gross profit is 27,608. This is how much I received. Is that clear? Good. Nastya, this is what I received. And finally, before we move on to the balance sheet and the income statement, operating profit. Operating profit. Operating profit. Operating profit is, how is it calculated? Operating income or operating profit? Operating margin. So operating profit divided by revenue. By revenue. And in our case, this is 0.05. Is that clear? Is that clear? Excellent. So our operating profit is revenue times 0.05. 4760. 4,760. This is our operating profit. Is everything clear to you? Is everything clear to you, ladies and gentlemen? Yep. Okay, and so we are ready to prepare our balance sheet and income statement. Let me see. I will probably okay, I can actually wipe that off. Are we ready to move on? Because I will have more. I will need more space, more room to write down the balance sheet, to present the balance sheet. Are we ready, guys? Are we ready? Okay, sure, yes. I'm then wiping that off. Можете потом выслать. Хорошо, группу.
Все схвачено.
Все схвачено, молодцы. Okay, excellent. So let's just prepare our balance sheet. The balance sheet. This is a condensed one, so we won't have a lot of lines here. The balance sheet. So we begin our balance sheet with assets, right? Assets. And the first asset is non-current assets. Non-current assets. Этот умирает, но не сдается фломастер. Non-current assets. So we have what? Property, plant, and equipment, right? PP&E. How much are PP&E? 17,000, right? Then we can write down total. Total is 17,000. Then we have current assets. We have current assets. And do we know how much just the details of our current assets? We have just what? Just current assets, 51,000. And we can write down total assets. Total assets are how much? 68. 68. Is everything clear about the balance sheet, guys? Is everything clear? Only property, plant, and equipment and current assets in the amount of 51,000. And we have what? Total assets. Можно вопрос? Yes, Anya, of course, you can ask a question. У нас должен быть хаотичный balance sheet или в order of liquidity. Order of liquidity, Anya. You begin with property, plant, and equipment with non-current assets followed by current assets and finally total assets. But we have actually two lines, property, plant, and equipment and current assets, and that's it. Is that clear? Now let's move on to the second. What? Equity and liabilities. equity and liabilities. This is the next part of the balance sheet. We're just repeating now again the structure of the balance sheet. We begin with equity. How much is our equity? Tell me.
Total equity.
Total equity is
32,000.
30, right? Okay. Yes, yes, 32,075. Thank you. Then we have what? Non-current liabilities, right?
5,925.
Yes. We have 5,925. These are our non-current liabilities. And finally, our current liabilities. How much? Current liabilities. They were given 30,000, right? They were given 30,000. And our total equity and liabilities.
Total equity 32,000.
Yeah, total equity plus liabilities. That's going to be 68,000. Just like as our assets. Is everything clear to you? Is everything clear? Tell me. Those who are online. Why we show that there are no other non-current liabilities? Rima, property, plant, and equipment is not a current asset. This is not a liability. This is a current asset because we do not have any other turnover and no other additional information. That's why we imply, мы подразумеваем, that PP&E is the only current asset, non-current asset that we have. So just you need to suggest, right, that. Good. So I'm not erasing it because we have only one income statement left. Либо это, либо то. You will have either the balance sheet with more knowns, с больше неизвестными, не надо так будет, or the income statement. Это долго, у вас будет короче, у вас будет больше данных. Я вам просто показала комплексную задачу. И повспоминали, как баланс выглядит. И ratio вспомнили. Is that clear? All right, are we guys ready? Because we need to now move on to the income statement. Now it's much better. Okay. Ready? Those who are online. Okay, excellent. Then I'm just wiping that off. Все умирает у нас тут. Доска уже грязная, все. Okay. Okay, that's the final step, guys. We can see the light at the end of the tunnel, right? So, in the income statement, now we will repeat the structure. Income statement. What do we begin with in the income statement? So, what is the first line? Always. Revenue or net sales revenue. How much is our revenue? 95,200. What is the next line usually in the income statement? Cost of sales или cost of goods sold. Do we know it? No, but we know the third line, which is what? Gross profit. Yes, молодцы. Gross profit. We know that our gross profit is 27,608. Is that clear? We know the first line and the third line, and we know that gross profit is the difference of between revenue and cost of goods sold. So we can calculate COGS easily, right? So how much is our cost of goods sold? Here in brackets, tell me, how much is cost of goods sold?
Дельта, да, у нас получается одно из другого?
Да. It should be subtracted from revenue. 592. That's what I have. 67. 900. 592. Is everything clear to you guys? So we found out COGS. Потому что нет, потому что она всегда вычитается. Это же расход. Это минус, это все, что в бухучете очень часто в России пишется то, что за вычетом в скобках. Некоторые пишут минус.
Формула, которую я тогда хотел.
This is the formula, right? But we are just writing it down in brackets. Gross profit, that's the difference between revenue and cost of goods sold, yes. Revenue minus gross profit. Все, пока понятно. Excellent. What follows gross profit? Operating expenses. Selling, general, and administrative expenses, they are all operating expenses. Do you guys agree? So we do not know them. Here, I'm just writing down operating expenses, and I'm just putting a star. But what is the difference between gross profit and operating expenses? What is it called? Operating profit. Operating profit.
Operating profit was 4,760.
Yes, we know that. Say it again. Can you please tell me?
4,760.
4,760. And we already know it. We already know it. So how can we find out? Well, you may just write down selling, general, and administrative expenses.
22,000. Да, 800,
right.
848.
848. So we found out operating expenses. Is that clear to you guys? We're selling general and administrative expenses. That's exactly the same. I don't see any other problems. Yep. Yeah, well, we're not done yet. We have some interest expenses. Is that clear to you guys? Is that clear? Yeah?
Interest expense.
We have interest expense. It's already given, right? And we know that operating profit is followed by other income and other expenses. So we're just writing down interest expense. How much is it?
1,488.
488. And now we have 3 last lines. What is the difference between operating profit and other income and other expenses? Plus other income minus other expenses. What is it called? What is it called? Tell me. Tell me. What is the difference between, so we take operating profit plus other income minus other expenses. What do we get? What do we get? No, before net income перед чистой прибылью. Before, it's called EBITDA, not exactly, but close. EBITDA здесь мы не посчитаем. Before depreciation and amortization. EBIT. This is actually EBIT. That was operating profit. Yes, Jacob. But we already took into consideration interest expense. It's called income or for earnings before taxes. EBT, right? So yes, income before taxes. Yeah. Income before taxes.
Tax rate 20%.
Yes. Income before taxes, that's going to be operating profit minus interest expense. How much is our EBT? Income before or earnings before taxes. Operating profit 4,760 minus 1,488.
3000.
20% налога.
Just a second. Это перед до налогообложения прибыль. Just a second. Before taxes.
3272.
272. 272. And finally, income tax expense. И вот налог на прибыль, расходы по налогу.
2618.
Income tax expense, and we know that this is 20% of this amount. And how much is that?
2617.
That's too much. I have 654.4. 654. 20% of this amount income tax. 20% от прибыли до налогообложения.
Ну да.
You are calculating the residual value, остаточную. So my income tax expense is 654. And finally, that's going to be net income. Net income. Сейчас я досчитаю, сфотографируйте. And how much is net income? Can you please calculate it? Is that 2,600? And 17. 2,617. This is how much is left. And this is our net income. Do you have any questions, ladies and gentlemen, about this practice problem? So if you get this one on the exam, I hope that you will be able to solve it. How do we calculate net income? Lisa, net income is what? Income before taxes minus income tax expense. Прибыль до налогообложения минус 18? Okay, then we can probably round it up. I don't mind. Is that clear, guys? Yes, 2,618. Lisa, прибыль до налогообложения минус налог на прибыль. Те показатели, которые в скобках, всегда берутся в скобки. Sonia, it depends on the country. In Russia, we put everything in brackets. Apple doesn't. It's up to you. It's not a mistake. You may even write down minus. Very few companies do it, but still they do. That's not... Все расходы берутся, все расходы и убытки берутся в скобки всегда в России. I'm just telling you the Russian practice. We put all expenses in brackets. Everything that is negative. In Russia, we do not write down minus. Instead, we write down in brackets. But again, this is only the Russian practice. Even though some companies, some countries stick to the same one. Do you have any other questions about the exam, about some practice problems? Is everything clear to you guys? Is everything clear? Tell me. If. Да. Okay. Thank you so much. Все супер. All right, so I hope that the structure of the exam is clear to you. Make your conclusions as detailed as possible. I will be evaluating the quality of your conclusions. If you are talking about, do not forget that we have only benchmarks for our liquidity ratios and solvency ratios. Others we can evaluate only by comparing with previous years. Is everything clear? If you are talking about liquidity, then state whether your company is liquid or not, whether it's solvent or